So this afternoon, Senate Democrats are set to force a vote to enshrine protections for access to in vitro fertilization. The procedural vote would need 60 votes in favor to pass. It is not expected to meet that threshold. Democrats are pushing what they call a comprehensive package of fertility bills that includes protecting IVF access and making the procedure more affordable. Republicans call the vote politically motivated and unnecessary. Instead, yesterday, they tried to pass their own IVF legislation. Their bill was much narrower in scope and does not address potential legal consequences surrounding the disposal of non-viable embryos. Democrats blocked that bill from passing. Joining us now ahead of today's vote, Democratic Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii. What can we expect today? And can you explain why these votes are taking place? The first one, of course, and now the IVF vote.
Well, after Roe fell, a lot of women were harmed, a lot of families were harmed, and I think one of the problems that we have right now is that people believe in their heart of hearts that Republicans wouldn't go through with the things that they are absolutely going through with. Now, 1 in 5 couples have difficulty conceiving, and in 2022, 85,000 babies were conceived using IVF. And so our message to the public is we're going to protect IVF, we're going to protect contraception, we're going to enshrine Roe if you give us the trifecta, and that the Republicans are deadly serious. The Susan B. Anthony list, certainly the MAGA court, have not made it unclear what their long-term objective is, and it's not just to take down reproductive choice, it's to take away any choice, any ability to determine the size of your family, when you start a family, and the circumstances under which you can interact with your doctor. If you find that you're having trouble conceiving and having a baby, if a doctor comes to you and says, we want you to consider this procedure, that should be your call with your spouse. And it's not going to be your call with your spouse if the Republicans win the trifecta.
So, Senator, tell me, why in the world would Republicans vote against a bill that most Republicans, especially Republican women and young families who are Republicans, who are conservatives, for a procedure that provides life, provides hope for parents across America? Why would Republicans oppose that?
Well, I think it's a super smart question, Joe, because we now know this is not about protecting life. This is about controlling females. This is about controlling bodies. This is about controlling the extent to which people can make their own choices about their own families and when and the circumstances under which they're going to start a family. And this is a bill that enshrines in statute the right to IVF. 85,000 babies were born using this miraculous procedure a couple of years ago. I can't imagine, if you consider yourself pro-life, to be anti this, but that's what they mean by pro-life. What they mean by pro-life is we want to control and legislate what happens inside of the body of half of all Americans.
Senator, it's Jen Psaki. I wanted to ask you just about the Republican bill, because I think what they're trying to do here, I would assess, is kind of muddy the waters a little bit. Like, they're trying to protect IVF, too. But there are some specifics in that bill, if I read it correctly, that are hugely problematic. Like, only in vitro fertilization is only protected if you have Medicaid funding, which a lot of states don't have Medicaid funding. What are the other things people should understand about what was so problematic about that bill?
Well, I think it's super narrow is the first thing. And second, you're right. A lot of states that have declined Medicaid expansion are already those conservative states. And so it lines up perfectly with their ability to block IVF in those states. And look, we just think this should be a federal right. And this goes to essentially the theme of Democrats over the next 5 to 6 months, which is we're going to protect your fundamental rights and freedoms. Your freedom to control your own body, your freedom to vote, your freedom to move around, your freedom to have economic mobility. It's very clear to me that Republicans are terrified, in particular, about IVF and contraception, which is why they are trying to create cover. But everybody understands that right now Republicans are about to vote no on this because the Susan B. Anthony list told them to do so.
All right, Democratic Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii, keep us posted. Thank you very much. We'll be watching today. We appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Senator.
Meanwhile.